There's one other important dimension, which is called the dim date dimension, which we let the SSAS build on its own. But there are a lot of, this is an important dimension because many times the businesses will want to navigate the data by the date parameter. So they will want to see the data, what was my performance, how much was my sales in the last quarter, how was my sales compared to my quarters 2 years back, what was my sale last month, what was my sale this month, and how do I compare. So all those, this is what basically the businesses would be seeing to assess their demand and forecasting. Okay, so this is a very important dimension actually, and we will now look at the date dimension specifically. Okay, and we'll see how we can create a hierarchy through the date dimension, and we'll see, let's try to create a date dimension, or let's try to add columns to the date dimension. So just click on that, and you can see over here that there is a date dimension created by SSAS, and it has just included a date key. Okay, now a date key, you go to the browser, okay, and click on all. A date key has some values like this. Okay, now if you present these values to the business, he'll not be happy with these values, because though you can read these values as this is the year part, this is your month part, and this is your date part, this is not usually how we would write a date column. Okay, a date value. So we have to make this easy to understand. The business wants everything in a descriptive manner. They don't want any keys or quotes associated with the data that is present to them. They want it in an easy to understand, proper, descriptive manner. So let's go back to the dimension structure over here and first add some more columns to this date dimension. So and we'll also build a hierarchy. So let's build a simple hierarchy in this case. To this date dimension, what we want to add now is, first I want the year. Okay, so I want the calendar year. So let's add this column over here, calendar year. The next part I want to see the month within that year. So let me add a descriptive column, English month name. And then I want to see all the dates within that year. So I already have my date key, so I can see the dates. Okay, so let's build a simple hierarchy now. Now, first step, let it be calendar year, English month name. Let's just rename it to month. Okay. Calendar year, let's just rename it to year. And this date key, let's rename it to date. Now, I surely do not want the key values in here, so I am going to set the name column here, and I am going to set the name column to full date alternate key, which is a more descriptive value. Okay. Then month is month name, that's okay for me. Year is year, which is also okay for me. Let's save this. Okay. And let's now deploy everything again. Okay. And now if we go to the browser tab for the dim date dimension and reconnect and check our year values now. So year values, these are the number of years, which is okay. Then I have my month values, let's say. So I have all my month values over here, I can see them, but they're not in a proper order. So now when I'm presenting this data to a business, the business again would not be happy, because they want the month names to come in the proper order in which they exist. So they want January, February, March, April, and so on, and not starting alphabetically. Okay, they do not want that. So this, we have to make sure that this is in the correct order. So we'll work on that now. And let's first take our date values. So now date values are in a proper formatted manner, and this will make more sense to the business. So we are okay with that. Okay. Now let's go back to a dimension structure. So the first thing that we saw was that the month names were not coming in the correct order in which they come in an year. They were coming alphabetically. So we need to make sure or ensure that the month name comes in the correct order. So let's go to the month attribute. Let's go to its properties and see what we can do about this. So if you go to the properties and go to the key columns, click to get the key columns editor, and you have the English month name selected as your key column. Now what I'm going to do is add another key, which would be the month number of the year. So month number would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when this is sorted by the key column, it will be sorted based on the number numerical value. So it would sort it in the proper order. So I'm going to add this column to my key column. Okay. And then make it the first key column so that it's sorted properly and say okay. Now you can see that the key columns has changed to a collection value because now we have defined 2 key values for this particular column. Now the name column, what value should it show? We have to select a name column because now we have selected 2 key values and SSAS does not know that what value it should show in the cube. So now I'm going to select a value which would be my month name because I want to see my month name and say okay. Okay. And now let's save it again and deploy the whole thing. Okay, reconnect. Now let's go back to the month. Oh God. And we're still in the same order. So let's go back to our dimension structure and see what's wrong again. Let's go back to the month attribute and see what's wrong again. So now if you come here, you'll see that the order by here is based on the name column, and the name column that we have, the name value that we have given for this attribute is the month name. So now I want to order by the key value because in the key we added the month number. So now this should work. So again, save it and redeploy. And reconnect, and now you can see that the month is in the right order. So you need to make all these changes for having the correct ordering. So similar would be the case if we would have included the day name. Okay, it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. By default, it would have ordered them alphabetically, but if we want to show them to a business user, we want them to be in the proper order of their occurrence. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and so on. So in that case, we would have needed to make similar changes to the attribute properties. Okay, now let's go back to the dimension structure. I have created this. Now I am done with my changing the properties of the attributes. Now I should go on and create a hierarchy so that the information that is presented to the user is more informative, and he's able to drill up and drill down as per his requirements. So let's create a hierarchy, simple hierarchy: year, then month, and date. Okay. Now again, we have got a message: attribute relationships do not exist. If they do not exist, go to your attribute relationships, and it is saying that your date belongs to a month and a date belongs to a year. Okay, which is true because the date that we have selected, there would be multiple dates having the same month. Okay, and the date would have a unique year. Now let's change the relationship over here. Month, new attribute relationship, and let it select, go toward an year. So now my relationship is like this. date, month, year. Let's go back to the dimension structure, and now we have created the proper relationship over here. Let's save and redeploy and reprocess. Okay, so the deployment has failed. There were deployment errors. You want to continue? No. Let's see why. What has failed? So it has not given us a clear error message, but the error that we have seen is probably because of our month column. So what we have done in our hierarchy, we have taken an year. So if it is 2005, it is 2005. And we have taken a month, which can be anything from January to December. And then we have taken a date column and we created some relationship and so on. If you go to the browser window, I have all these months, years, and so on. Okay. And then we forced a relationship between date, month, and year. But this month, to this month column, we have to make sure that a month appears within a year once. Okay. The months that we have created are general months. So for all the years, the months would be common. So that is not a unique relationship. We have to make sure that the value of month is unique for an year. To make that happen, otherwise it would result in duplicate values because the same month is appearing everywhere. So the value of the month is not unique because January will happen in 2005. It will happen in 2006 as well. Now here I have just said that the month is the combination. The key column for a month attribute is the month number and the month name. Okay, so if I say 1 January, that is going to appear in the year 2005, in the year 2006, and in every year. So this value is now repeating. So this cannot be a key column because they're duplicates. They're going to be duplicate values. So we have to make sure that this value is unique. So go to the month and go to your key columns. Okay. And add another column, just going to the calendar year. Add it, and that should be the first part. So now you have calendar year, month, number of the year, and English month name, and we're going to just show the month name. Okay. Okay. Save it. And let's see if we can deploy it. Okay, now the deployment has been successful because now it was able to calculate the unique values for each of the month number. Okay, we connect. And if you just browse by month, you can now see that these values are repeating because it has now taken the values for each of the year. So let's go back to the hierarchy and see. So now you have got your year over here. You have got your month and you've got the list of all your dates within your month. Okay. Similarly, if you go to another year, you'll get again the set of all the months and the list of all the dates within that month. Okay. So the whole idea was to make every column should be unique. If it encounters any duplicate values, then the processing would fail, the deployment would fail. So we have to make sure that the attributes that we define and the hierarchy that we define results in unique values. Okay. Now, as we saw here, the month name is going to repeat. So we should be removing it. We should not be giving the user access to see these values because if he groups by month, that is what he is going to see. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. So what we'll do, we go to month, attribute, and set its visibility to false. Okay, and save it and reprocess it. But now you do not see that option. So it makes it more clean, and the user will not be confused by unnecessary values as your dimensional attributes. So this is how you can configure your dimensions. Okay. So these are the different ways in which you can configure your dimensions. Now, if you go back to the dim product dimension, let's go back once and go to the browser. You'll see that there is something called the unknown value over here. Okay. If you go to the hierarchy, then there are unknowns, and so on. So if we go to the attribute properties over here, the dimension properties, you'll see that there is something called the unknown member. Okay, so these unknown values are basically the nulls in your data where it has not been able to find any value because we have been combining values. Okay, so any null values in your data are being shown as unknown values, and we have joined tables to product subcategory with the product and so on. So probably a product subcategory is not defined for a product for a particular product, so the value is going to be null. So again, it is going to show it as unknown. So to handle these unknown members, there are some options over here. So go to your product, dimension, and the properties of your dimension, and this particular thing, unknown member. If you click on the drop down, you'll see that there are various options called visible, hidden, none, automatic. So you can have an option called hidden, wherein you will not be able to see if you are sure or if the requirement is such that you do not want to show any unknown values to the user, you can mark them as hidden. Okay. Most of the times we want to be able to catch these values, so we'll put them as visible. Then your unknown member name, you can configure your name. Now your user is getting confused by seeing unknown, so you want to configure it. So what you can do, you can give the unknown member name as whatever name you want, unknown value, NA, whatever. Okay. Then again save it and deploy it. Reconnect. And now you can see that the unknowns have changed to NA. Okay. So all these products don't have a subcategory defined or a category defined for them. Okay. All these products did not have a match in the subcategory table, so they have no subcategory defined for them. That's why we can see them like this. Let's go to color. So this has changed to NA. Unknown color has changed to NA. Okay, so similarly, whatever you want to show to the business user, you can configure over here, and that is the way they'll be able to see the unknown members. If they do not want to see the unknown members, then you can choose the property as hidden. If you do not want your unknown members, so if you are sure that there should be no nulls, then you can choose this to none. And if there is any null value or unknown value coming up in your data, then your deployment would fail. Okay, or otherwise you can put it as automatic null, and it would convert the values to nulls, any missing values to null. So this is how you handle the missing values. Now we have deployed this project so many times, and we had connected to remember our analysis services engine over here. So if we refresh, we should be able to see our project deployed over here. So if I go to databases over here, then this is a project I have been creating, SSAS demo. You can see that this has been deployed to your analysis services engine. This is your project. This is your AdventureWorks data warehouse data source. This is your data warehouse data source view. You have your cubes over here. You have your measure groups defined. So everything, the whole structure you can see over here. Internet sales, partitions, write back, which we have not defined yet. We'll do them in the further sessions. You have your dimensions, which you can see over here, mining structures, roles, assemblies, whatever. So the entire drop down, the entire list that we're getting over here in the Solution Explorer, everything we can see in the SQL Server engine. Okay, again, how do you connect to your analysis engine? Connect, go to your analysis services, give your server name and so on, click on connect, and then you will be seeing something like this. This would be your server name, and it would be saying Microsoft Analysis Server, and then within that you can see all these details. These would be visible after you deploy your project. Okay,